Stay awake with us just a little bit longer, Tiger fans. This is episode 6 of Around the Bases, and I mean, it's a beautiful show tonight. All right, Clemson got a big series win against Virginia Tech. And look, hey, if you're watching on Facebook or watching on YouTube, get in the comments. Let us know who you are, where you're from, where you're watching, and just kind of be active on the comments. We like to engage with our viewers and kind of get their feedback on what they saw this weekend. We're definitely going to tell you what we thought. Joining me, as always, is my co-host, Corey Welch. Corey, how you doing, man?
Good, just getting off the field. Snazzy video, by the way, Alan. That's big time.
Not bad. And for those of you that don't know, we have our wonderful producer and the Morgan Thomas Show host, Morgan Thomas, who made the logo for us. We have up in the right-hand corner, and he actually made that intro video for us today. So kudos to him. Excellent job, as always, with everything he does. First class as always. And we're gonna use that going forward. Hopefully, maybe even make some improvements upon it, and we'll get going from here. So. All right, look, let's dive right into it. Clemson, good series win. Virginia Tech, ranked team coming in, depending on what poll you're looking at. They were as high up as 13, as low as 25. I saw all the Clemson websites, conveniently posted that they beat number 13 Virginia Tech, even though I think in the main polls they were a little bit lower than that. So that was kind of funny. But hey, any series win is a good win, and they came out in a real big way. They needed it badly. Let's just say this weekend. So. Won the first game, 8-2. Virginia Tech stormed back in the second, won 11-3, and Clemson snuck out one 4-2 in Game 3 to take the series. And I mean, if you're Virginia Tech, man, you're one just very ill-timed gust of wind away from taking a series from Clemson on the road. So it's a little bit rough for them. But on the other hand, if you're a Clemson fan, I mean, you're loving the weather gods right now because that was absolutely huge. Clemson needed that in the worst way. And honestly. Parker hit the ball. I thought it was a pop fly to right center field about 20 feet from the wall, and it ended up sneaking over. I don't know how. The announcers seemed just as surprised as I was, so that was kind of fun. But it was definitely good to see for sure. Let's see here. Let's get into it, what I wanted to go through first. Okay, so, Corey, I tell you what. I'll shoot it to you first. Do you have anything that you noticed specifically about the series? You can start, Game 1 through Game 3. You can do it kind of as a whole, whatever you want. Dealer's choice here. Just kind of tell us your thoughts from the weekend series.
Yeah, and even dating back from the weekend series, they had the weekday game with Georgia State, and I felt like in that game, they came out with it was almost like a new team. I felt like there was a lot of positive energy that day. Ricky had a good start. I know Kiera Meredith got things going with a shot off the bat, and then from there, it just seemed like that they steamrolled through that game pretty easily, and then that carried over to the weekend. I know Al right here in the comments posted that he believes that's the best overall game they played this year. I agree with that 100%. In all phases of the game, they played really well. A couple of things that kind of stuck out to me, which was nice, was Hackenberg getting back in there. He's not going yet, but having that presence in the middle of that lineup to really protect Grice and French and Parker and those guys is big as well. Is big. So, and then one that Briar Hawkins kind of getting the bat going a little bit. That was a nice surprise to have, kind of moving forward. And we're going to throw Game 2 out of the window, from a pitching perspective. But, the starters went well. Matt Clark, again, kind of being that bridge guy on Friday was big. So,
yeah, no doubt. And I noticed Briar Hawkins as well. That was something I kind of wanted to get into. I thought he got his bat going a little bit. We've been waiting for that all season. They've been kind of toying over at that position. They've had Briar Hawkins at third. They've had Max Wagner at third. They've kind of rotated people over there all year, and I was a little surprised that Hawkins was out of the lineup in the third game. I'm pretty sure Wagner started there in Game 3. I thought that was a bit odd because of Hawkins' back getting going, but you know what? You got the win 4-2. What difference does it make now, right? I was just it was just something it caught my eye at the time, and I thought it was a bit strange. But I tell you, it wasn't the only thing that I saw a little bit strange. The only other thing that I noticed this weekend was, let's see, I believe it was the Sunday game. It was the 4-2 win because we were tied 1-1 going into the 8th. Nick Clayton was pitching and just absolutely rolling people. I mean, he was just breezing, cruising right through the lineup, and he took him out for Gilbert, which I thought was a bit strange. I get it. Gilbert's your guy, and I understand that. Gilbert's done nothing but good things for Clemson, but it's I really hate taking pitchers out that are cruising. And I know he had gone through the lineup once, and a lot of times they think maybe they, can catch on to something that second time around, and maybe that was a strategy there. But it almost bit you because Gilbert, comes right in. I believe, what did he give up, a home run? Is that what he gave up? I know he gave up a run.
Yeah, he did give up a home run and a couple of base hits. So
Okay. Yeah. It wasn't his best outing. He looked really rough there right at the beginning. A couple of solidly hit balls. I remember him now. And I think the next guy, nailed one to like left center or something like that. Got him maybe a double, I believe. So that was kind of a rough outing for him, for Gilbert, Gilbert wise. But he came back and got out of that inning, which was huge, obviously. So that was a very good thing. I was very good to see him battle back. Because that doesn't always happen. Sometimes you get that momentum against you and you just can't stop it. But he needed to stop it at one run because obviously that lended itself to the fateful homer with Parker in the bottom half of that inning. So that was great to see. It was very nice to see. It hadn't happened a lot for us this year. Those close games hadn't really gone our way. It finally did, and I'm good with it. I'm good with it for sure. But I got to tell you, I liked what I saw from Virginia Tech. I thought this was a good baseball team. I thought they battled. I thought they were a scrappy team. They put the bat on the ball. They had the situational hitting. They had the fundamentals down. They weren't making a lot of errors in the field. It's the kind of team I like to see when I see Clemson play. That's the kind of the team I want. I thought they played it very well. Again, it was just it was a routine pop fly, that probably would have won the series, and it happened to sneak over the wall. So that was a tough one for them. But I'm very glad Clemson snuck this one out. I liked what I saw from Virginia Tech. They only had one error, I believe it was, on the weekend, maybe two, but I can only remember one. And Clemson had five. They struggled in game two, especially. I think they had three errors in that second game that we lost 11-3. So that's not going to help anything either. It was just kind of they were maybe two in one inning and one the next, something like that. So they're all right there together, kind of make that pretty memorable. Left on base. Corey, I don't know if you looked up this stat or anything for this weekend. Clemson left 13 runners on base all weekend, which is, that's not really that much for a weekend series. Virginia Tech left 31 runners on base. Okay, that's a lot of runners. That can flip the series in a heartbeat, obviously. Now, the good news is they left a lot of those on in the first two games, and they already beat us in the second game by 8 runs. So that wasn't that big a deal. In the first game, we were ahead by 6 runs, so it was good to keep those runners at bay. But that's a lot of runners on base. That means Clemson pitchers are getting out of a lot of jams. So you got to give them credit for that. It's not to say that they're perfect. They shouldn't be letting a lot of these runners on base in the first place, which, that's kind of the next step in the progression. Don't even get them on the base. But I wanted to shout out really Matt Englund. I thought he has true Friday night stuff. And even though he struggled a little bit, we had some guys get on base again against him. He was able to get out of those jams, minimize that damage. And I thought he looked pretty good in his first start. I think that's a really encouraging sign going forward. What do you think?
Yeah, I think so too. It was a tough draw. He's been a guy that's kind of come out of the pen, up until that point. And then, you're kind of that bridge guy. And then, Coach Lee goes to you earlier in the week and says, hey, you're starting Friday night in a conference series. Obviously he started before in his life, but, that's pitching in the ACC on a Friday night is a little different. He was able to settle those nerves and kind of give them what they needed to. Hopefully, kind of moving forward. I've raved about his stuff for weeks now. If he's able to piece that together, I mean, that's the Friday night guy that Big Al wants. So
yeah, that's right. I'm good with it. I was really happy to see that. Honestly, I liked the whole lineup this weekend. Again, I'm getting a little bit confused. I don't know if you can help us out with this, but I really like Olenchuk. We've talked about him for a long time. We talked about him, right before the season started. We've talked about him being so great, and he had that rough outing the last time out, but he struggled again this time. He did not pitch for very long as the Saturday guy. What do you see from Olenchuk? Can you tell of anything that's going on and why he might be struggling all of a sudden? I'm a little bit confused because I had real high hopes for this kid, and obviously he's a freshman. Let's not dump on him or anything like that. But can you tell anything from watching the games?
I mean, the big thing I see is any mistake he's making right now is getting pounded.
Right.
It's just one of those things. Sometimes you get away with those, and sometimes you don't. He's a kid. He's a freshman. From the film side of everything in baseball, there's a little more film out there now. They're able to kind of dissect him where those first couple of weeks there wasn't there. But just any type of mistake he's making, and you kind of talked about it too just a second ago. Like, he's going to be fine. I mean, the kid's a winner. He'll figure it out. But it's real interesting for these freshmen. They come in and really throughout their whole high school career, they've constantly just pitched to their strengths. Nobody's really been able to attack their strengths and things like that. So he has to adjust with what he does, and he's got the staff and the ability to do that. And hopefully that's what happens moving forward.
Yeah, without a doubt. I think he needs to, or from what, the little bit I know and a little bit of what I've seen, I think he needs to develop that out pitch a little better. He struggles a little bit with locating his off-speed stuff. And I think he needs an out pitch, the changeup or whatever he needs to develop a little more. I think he's relying on the fastball a little too much and locating it where he wants. And these guys are just getting the bat on it and making plays. So I think he's going to be fine. Again, Olenchuk is one of my favorite guys. I've really thought highly of him since you brought him up on the preseason show that we had. So that was some good info there for sure. And I think big things are in store for this kid. And I like the fact that we have Anglin out there. Askew looked good to me as well.
Yeah.
We've talked about his stuff and the arm angles he comes from, and his windup. It's just kind of, it makes him that much harder to hit, that much more difficult to hit. He's got to locate. That's always been his issue, is can he find his command? And he seemed to do a pretty good job of that. I think he got into a couple of jams, but he got out of them, and that's going to be very key. I think his health is going to be a key to this season if we want to continue progressing the way that we are. So you like this rotation going forward? Or is there anything you would tweak as far as the weekend rotation goes, or do you like where we stood this past weekend? What do you think?
I like it. Obviously, you want to get Sharp back in the mix. I know he's got a little bit of an injury, I believe, but I have no idea what the timetable is on that. But I think he is that guy that obviously can, bulking the rotation up. But you just said, you've got England who puts that stuff together on Friday night, and then you bookend that with Askew on Sunday, where as a left-handed hitter, you don't even know where to pick up the baseball from because he's coming at you with like 7 different. It's crazy. So if he's able to throw it over the plate, and then with Clayton, you talked about him a while ago. That was stellar, and that was promising what he did on Sunday as well. So I'm really excited about where this pitching's going.
Yeah, and that's kind of what we talked about at the beginning of the year. We thought the pitching was going to be the strength. We thought it could be what propelled them to do really good things this year. Nick Clayton had some really good outings. I can't remember if it was in the shortened year last year, but he had some really good flashes there. So we know he's got good stuff, and it's good to see him kind of get back on track. So, and I'm trying to think of who else pitched. Who did Clark pitch this weekend? I think Clark went a long way in one of the games, didn't he?
Yeah. Clark was kind of the bridge on Friday, right after Anglin. He went 4 innings, 2 hits, 1 run, 4 strikeouts. Just your typical, Friday night with Matt Clark.
What Clark does, right? Yeah, exactly. The only other couple things that I noticed, particularly, I thought, Brewer struggled at the plate this weekend. We've been talking about Brewer and how well he's hitting the ball. And even when a lot of times, even when he's not getting hits, he's crushing the ball. A lot of times it's just right at somebody. I'm pretty sure he went 0 for this weekend. I don't know that he had a hit all weekend, which has not happened in a long time. He had a lot of strikeouts. Clemson had a ton of strikeouts on Saturday. Goodness gracious. Which again, that's what we talk about. That's the approach. It's a long ball approach, a long swing. And they're not getting on top of those balls, and that's fine. That's the approach they want to go with. It's just I hate it when the strikeouts happen so much, especially in key situations. So that's kind of tough. Brewer needs to get going. He's a huge part of this lineup when he's on, and we need him to be that guy for sure. Parker continues to hit well. He's always good for a hit a game. He just happened to get the biggest hit in the series, so that was really good. Good for him. Grice, I tell you, we talked about Grice a ton. Okay, we talked about Grice, when he was being recruited and all that kind of stuff. And I didn't think Grice saw the ball very well this weekend. Not as well as he's been seeing. I think I texted you maybe last weekend saying, "Man, this guy is just seeing everything. His plate discipline is incredible. He's seeing those borderline pitches that get called balls that he's just sitting there when most people would be swinging." He just did a really good job of that early on, and I don't know what it was this weekend, but he watched the same pitch. It's a little outside, it could be called a ball, but he struck out, I'm pretty sure 3 times on the exact same pitch, outside fastball, that he was just off the plate. He wasn't adjusting to the strike zone like I thought he should this weekend, like he had been doing in the past. So you got to get Grice going. He's kind of your main guy. He's your big power threat guy that can go deep at any at bat. So he's going to have to. I'm not exactly sure. I don't know how you do that. I mean, I don't know how you get more disciplined at the plate other than, see some more stuff coming at you, and adjust to the strike zone accordingly. But I have full confidence he'll get back to it. I love this guy's approach. I love his swing. I think he can do really good things. Is there anything? I don't know how much you got to watch live this weekend, but did you see anything with Grice in particular?
Yeah, I was kind of in and out, but you're kind of talking about the pitches that he's watching off the plate. I feel like as a hitter, first of all, like a lot of times with these power hitters and guys like that, I mean, they go on spurts. I mean, we see it even at the professional level and things like that. But, if you see that umpire is calling that pitch off the plate, you're not asking him to rope it for a double or anything. You just want him to just foul it off, spoil it. I mean, that's what I talk to guys about too, is just spoil that pitch. So then when that pitcher does make that mistake, you're still in the box to hammer it. You just throw the bat out there, hit it over to the dugout and get back to work. So
that's right. Absolutely. Wait for him to make a mistake, right?
That's right.
Let's see. We got Al Coon getting in. What do y'all know about Hall, Ferry, and Hackenberg getting back behind the plate? So Hall, they're very mum on Hall. We hear an update every now and then. He might be a couple of weeks away. I think that's the last thing I heard. But they're not telling you anything about these injuries. I don't really understand the whole keeping the injury secret. I'm not sure what that's all about and what competitive advantage that gives you. I don't really understand. But I haven't heard much on Hall except for maybe he's a couple weeks away. Ferry, I have not heard a word about. I keep saying when we need a home run, when we need a big hit, just pinch hit for Ferry, because if he hits one, it's probably going to go a long way. He's got some power there, and I haven't seen him. So I'm not really sure what's going on there. Hackenberg, he's already back, of course, in the lineup. He was DHing this weekend. I don't know if there's a timetable for him getting back behind the plate. I would imagine if he's DHing, it's not going to be long before you see him, behind the plate a little bit. I'll mention this now that, you bring up Hackenberg getting behind the plate and being up as a DH. I thought French and Teodosio took a lot better swings this weekend. Teodosio especially, he had a pretty decent weekend from what I remember, a couple home runs, I believe, but he was taking better swings on the ball. And I think French was too. It wasn't, but a couple series ago, French was either striking out or popping up to the infield almost every time. And it's nice to see him to take some better swings, to shorten that swing just a little bit and make contact. He was doing better with that. So you got to get all these guys going at once. So that's the challenge. You can't have two of them pick it up and two of them, drop off, which kind of seemed to be what happened this weekend. But look, it's good to see. It's Clemson. It's a Clemson win against a ranked team at home. We'll take it, hopefully get back on track there. Let's see here. we got to put this up. Okay. I mean, come on, right? Man. You got to have that up there. Want to thank Austin for getting in. Austin, we appreciate you getting in with us tonight. So just a quick shout out to Corey Welch for being his hero now. Right. So, but yeah, I mean, I'm encouraged. I'm encouraged by what I saw. I just, we've got a long way to go. The pitching was good. I think if we can nail down this pitching staff, and give the bats a little bit of a breather to try to come back to life. So they're not having to score 11 runs like on Saturday, when we just fell apart. But I think we can do better. I think we can have a little more hope for the season. Hopefully get back to maybe sneaking into a regional. That's what you're trying to do right now. The season got derailed to the point where no playoffs were happening, and that could still very well be the case. You never know what happens this next weekend, but this is a good start. Virginia Tech, you got to start somewhere, and a win over a ranked Virginia Tech team is a good way to start. So I will take it. Corey, you got any final thoughts before we get out of here tonight? Yeah,
I mean, kind of recapping what you said, 3-in-1 week, kind of build on that. If they can do that throughout the year, they're going to be in a good shape. I know they have Georgia Southern tomorrow night, I believe, down in Aiken or Augusta, I should say. And then going up to Boston College, which I was pulling some stuff on. But I think it was a team that they're better than people presume. I mean, one thing I always look at it, I feel like for Clemson football, one place they hate going is Syracuse. And I think in the baseball world, that's probably Boston College. They do have a new facility and stuff, but it's just a different element. Obviously, it'll be a little chillier there. Atmosphere won't be as big of a difference this year, I feel like, because of COVID and things like that. But it's a good opportunity for them, to go. You have another 3-in-1 week, something like that. We're on here next week, possibly talking about Clemson winning 6 of their last 8 or 7 of their last 8, and the schedule starts bulking up. So
yeah, sign me up for that, no doubt about. Casey Cregan gets in and says, "Keep winning series." 100% right. That's what we talked about at the beginning of the year. You don't have to win 3. You don't have to sweep. You just win series and you'll make it. All right, that's what we need to be focusing on right now. I think that's what we need to do, especially when we get this stuff nailed down, especially our pitching staff and things like that. Al gets in and says, "Do we discuss softball?" So we've gotten a ton of people talking about softball, and we don't, unfortunately, on this show. And I'll go ahead and plug that while we're here.
Yeah, go ahead. I'm sure you got the numbers too. I was actually looking at that earlier today. I mean, a 20-2 record, and I saw something. I can't remember the stat. Tim Beret had a stat. I think it's like 17 straight. It's the most a women's team. Yep. Yeah, it's the most a women's teams had in Clemson history, I believe. So that's pretty cool.
That's crazy. That's absolutely insane, especially for a second-year program. They are doing really good things there. We don't really discuss it in depth on the show. I'll be honest. It's not that I have anything against girls softball. I just love the baseball team and simply don't have time to watch anything else. I don't really have time to watch all the baseball games, but I do keep up with the softball team. I keep up with their win streak. I love seeing y'all post about it, and we try to mention some of it on the Morgan Thomas show. By the way, note for you people out there that are talking about the live show, I get it. All right, I love the live show as well. Our wonderful host Morgan has found out that video clips seem to be the way to go. They get a lot more views. People spend a lot more time watching them when we clip it up. So we record those things on Tuesday nights now, and he'll release them throughout the week. So we don't have the live show, and I don't know that we'll be doing the live show until football season. But that's kind of what we're going with now. And for now, Around the Bases is going to be a live show on Monday nights. We're gonna keep doing this. Morgan is trying to broach the subject of us doing some clips as well, since they seem to be doing so well. But if the live show does well with us, we'll keep it this way. We'll see what the fans like and what do we go with there. So we'll keep y'all updated as we go with that. But yeah, baseball team got back on the right track. Softball team killing it, cruising. That's some good stuff there. So I like what I see so far. And we'll get into the series this weekend. Hopefully we can talk about a big series winning against Boston College and a midweek win as well. We can get in here and we'll talk about this next Monday. That's the plan. We're going to be hopefully back at the original time at 8:30 if we can get Corey here on time. We'll be back at 8:30. See if we can get you guys engaged and going and ready to talk some more baseball. So make sure you join us next Monday, everybody, as we slide into home.